What's going on YouTube? So the Honda Pilot has long been established as one of the best choices for when your family expands enough to need a three-row SUV.
And Honda knows that, and they redesigned this Pilot last year to better take on the competition.
So after living with this new Pilot for the past 7 days and extensively putting it to the test, can we confirm that this is one of the best three-row choices in its class? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, like always, we want to start off this review by quickly doing our spec dump and checking out what's under the hood. With the Honda Pilot, it's going to be very simple. Just one powertrain option, a 3.5-liter V6 engine. It's making 285 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque.
All models have a 10-speed automatic transmission. If you choose the Elite model, you will get standard all-wheel drive, but other models can get front-wheel drive. And as far as fuel economy is concerned, it's coming in at 21 mpg combined. However, we will be talking about our real-world fuel economy over 7 days in the test drive portion.
Right, and while we're on that test drive, we'll be showing you the performance of this model. We'll also be getting our official Kentucky sound level reading for this Pilot Elite. But let's close up the hood and take a look at the exterior first. So when it comes to the next generation Pilot, Honda went back to its roots, so to speak, and gave this a lot of a tougher, boxier design than the previous generation. I think that certainly helps it look a lot less minivan-like. They already have a minivan, and that's the Odyssey. So now if you want the real SUV look, this Pilot does deliver. Now with the Elite model, you don't really get too much in terms of additional features or design elements. You're still going to have this gloss black finish to our squared off grille. You've got a chrome accent that's going to run across the top, and you have a silver accent down on the lower fascia. Now in terms of our headlights, we do have a new design with the new generation, of course. Full LED, they're reflector LEDs, and then you have a turn signal and daytime running light accenting the top and the bottom. Most models are also going to come with the LED fog lamps, and in terms of ground clearance, you're looking at 7.3 inches, or if you go for that rugged Trail Sport model, that's going to get you 8.3 inches, as well as a real metal skid plate. Now, as we walk around to the rear design, this boxy appearance does continue back here as well.
Yeah, I really like the way this Pilot looks, and honestly, I think it's gotten a lot of attention this week when we've had it driving around. Now, Drew's hopping inside because we're going to check out all the taillight elements here at Car Confections. It's one of our signature things that we like to do. And we do have an LED brake light portion. However, we're going to have an incandescent reverse light and incandescent turn signal. So one out of your three elements are LED on this Pilot's taillight, but that is going to be for all trim levels. I would like to maybe see them include an up-level taillight here on this Elite model, but I guess that's fine overall. We do have blacked out branding here in the middle. And then dropping down to this lower area, this is where I think it looks really good because we have dual trapezoidal exhaust outlets, and that's going to be if you choose a Sport, Touring, or Elite trim level. As far as your tow rating is concerned, it's going to be 3,500 pounds for front-wheel drive or 5,000 pounds with the all-wheel drive model, which is otherwise known as my weight after I eat Thanksgiving dinner this year.
Now when it comes to the wheels, you're probably not surprised to know that the Elite does have the largest size option available, a 20-inch alloy wheel. This one has a contrast finish with the shark gray accents throughout. I think this looks quite nice. Most of the other models will come with 18-inch alloys except for the Sport trim level. I will point out the Elite does retain the matte black finish for the wheel arches as well as around the lower part of the vehicle. And in terms of our features with the mirrors, this is going to escalate as we go through the trims. So what you have on the Sport model is going to be blind spot monitoring. Once you get to the Trail Sport, that's going to add your heating as well as your power folding. And then if you want the auto dimming feature, that's going to be on just the Elite model. So that's going to be very useful, of course, when that Ram 2500 is inevitably tailgating you, shining right into your mirrors.
Now, as far as the side design, you're once again going to see that boxy shape retained. And as far as the overall vehicle length, we're looking at 199.9 inches long, which is otherwise known as long as a line at the DMV. Really, the only thing that's longer than this in this segment would be the Toyota Grand Highlander, and it's really not much longer than this at all. Now, as far as other design elements, I do want to talk about these roof rails. You do have pretty tall roof rails up top to strap down any of your family's needs. And speaking of family, this is a family SUV after all, so Honda knows that, and they're including all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment, including a adaptive cruise control system with a traffic jam assist. But guys, there is a very functional family interior with a lot of luxury goodies on the inside, so let's check that out. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now on to the interior. First, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. Typical Honda key fob. One of the nice things is that you will have smart entry as well as remote start built into the fob on pretty much every single model except for that LX. Getting inside, just grab behind the handle. That's going to unlock the door. Fold the mirrors out and take a look inside the interior. As I already mentioned, this is the Elite trim level, so that does mean we have the most luxury that's currently available here on this next generation Pilot. And one of the places where you'll see some elevated luxury is going to be here with the seats. The Elite is going to have an exclusive perforated leather seat, which also has color contrast piping to give it a little bit more of a premium look. I do like the looks of these. This is the black option. You can also get a brown option if you want something a little bit richer or something that stands out a little bit more than the standard black. Seats themselves, very comfortable. We also have 10 ways of power adjustment. But I do want to point out we just have 2-way lumbar support. We don't have a thigh extension like we do on some of the competition. But we do have 2-person memory seating over here so long as you get the EXL trim level at least. But let's go ahead and climb inside. When you close the door, you get a little jingle on the gauge cluster there. And let's go ahead and talk about the overall cabin materials. Now, with the seats, I was mentioning that you had some elevated luxury on the Elite. Unfortunately, the rest of the cabin doesn't really change a whole lot for the Elite trim level versus the other trim levels. So you're still going to have your leather over here. You're not going to have any wood or faux wood. You're just going to have this kind of black trim with the little dots through it. Otherwise, though, everything is very solid. So we have soft touch plastic along the top here, soft touch plastic on this part. We do have a leatherette that runs through the center section, and this has a color contrast stitching detail. And then down here, it's not going to be padded, but it is very solid, like I was saying. In typical Honda way, everything is going to be well built. Just overall more utilitarian than luxurious. But let's go ahead and start it up. Now, the Elite might not change luxury a lot, but it does change technology a lot. One of the things I want to point out that just the Elite is going to have is this gauge cluster. So this is a 10.25 inch digital gauge cluster. You can make all the design customizations that you expect, including the overall design over here on the steering wheel. It also does change when you switch into different drive modes, such as going into sport mode. Now, the other piece of technology that's exclusive to the Elite is going to be our head-up display, which you can also customize, and overall it's a pretty good HUD. Coming back, we have rain-sensing wipers on just the Elite. And then taking a look at the steering wheel, you do, of course, have a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel. It is going to be heated on your top trim levels and manual tilt and telescoping on all trim levels. But this is a Honda Pilot after all, so I know you're expecting a lot of space, and let's get into that because you're going to be impressed. So, center console is first up, and here at Car Confections we do a thing called the donut test because that, of course, is our emblem. And we went ahead and stuck the donuts in here, and we got 19 donuts inside of the center console. It's very impressive. It definitely exceeds the dozen, which passes the test, and almost does 2 dozen. Up in front of that, you got your 2 cup holders. Another very large and spacious storage bin. This half of it is used as a wireless phone charging pad. It charges up my Samsung Galaxy just fine. Mason says that he has trouble with his iPhone 13 Max, so just be aware of that. Over here, we have our passenger shelf, which is obviously a very large piece of real estate over there. And then really important to point out is that you have a lot of door storage in both the front and the back. Mason will talk a little bit more about that later. Now, returning our attention over here to this area, we have our typical Honda push-button shifter. You do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel as well. And when we pull that trigger and go into reverse, the Elite and the Trail Sport are the two models that will come with this 360-degree camera system. As you can see, you do have that split view. You can also switch your angles just a little bit there if you want to have a less distorted view overall. And then just press the P for park. Your drive mode controller as well as your auto start stop is right behind there, and your parking brake and electronic park hold. Now as we move up the dashboard, the next place we come to are our climate controls. This is a traditional 3-zone automatic setup with nice, easy to use knobs. Very, very nice in overall operation. You don't have to think about it. No touch screens or anything are involved. You also have 3-stage heated seats, which are standard on all but the base model. And then here with the Elite, this is the only trim that's going to add in the 3-stage seat ventilation as well. And speaking of physical knobs, we also have a physical knob for our audio system. So if you get the Touring or the Elite, you're going to get the up-level Bose sound system. That, of course, is what we have, and let's give it a sample right now. Overall sound quality of this system is pretty good. Just like all Bose systems, it has a little bit of an emphasis on bass heaviness, so just be aware of that. But overall, definitely fills up the cabin nicely. All right, now it's time to talk about infotainment. So what you're looking at right now is your up-level 9-inch display. Lower trims will come with a 7-inch display instead. In terms of the technology on board, we do have built-in navigation, which you can locate right there. We also have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay with this 9-inch display. If you get the smaller 7-inch display, that's going to have a wired connection. Now overall, this display is probably a little bit disappointing because it's not the upgraded system like you have in the new Honda Accord, which has a 12.3-inch display, and you're also not going to find the Google apps that are built in, such as Google Maps. Instead, you have this kind of older style, I believe it's a Garmin-based system. Nevertheless, as we move on up here, we do have an auto-dimming mirror with 3 HomeLink universal remotes. And then we also have a large panoramic sunroof. This does have a traditional sunshade, and the front section does open up.
But the Pilot is all about family utility, and that's what this video is all about diving into. So let's go ahead and talk about the rear space. Now, as far as the legroom is concerned, we're going to be looking at about 41 inches of legroom, a little over 40 inches of headroom, so pretty good amount of space back here. It is going to be slightly less than something like a Kia Telluride or a Hyundai Palisade, but not by a bunch. This is one of the larger offerings in the segment. Now, I did bring my ruler because we like to do all of those measurements here at Car Confections, and I'm 5'9", and we're looking at 9 inches of knee space with the seat adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". My feet can also slide easily up underneath the seat. I can also slide this seat forward and back a very good distance and recline it for maximum comfort. So it's a very comfortable seat. Now, you might be wondering. So you look at this and you say, okay, there's bench seating on the top end model. Well, that is a really cool feature about this Pilot, is you have the availability of 7 or 8 passenger seating. Because a lot of the top-end models in the segment will lock you into a captain's chair, Honda gives you the option, actually. So you can have this right here. You can actually fold it down and kind of have like an executive-style armrest section, but this seat can actually be fully removed and stowed in the cargo area. So you can have your captain's chairs if you want it. You can also have the bench seating if you need the additional seating capacity in this model. So very cool feature. That's on Touring and Elite trim levels, and really it makes this Pilot about as flexible as a yoga instructor. There's a lot of flexibility when it comes to what you're going to need for the family. Now, as far as here in the center, we do have vents. Drew already mentioned that we do have climate controls for the rear. We also have heated rear seats on the Elite trim level only, so you can defrost those cheeks today because it's quite cold outside. Down below that, we have a household style outlet as well as 2 USB-C ports. And then as far as other things to mention, I do want to point out that you have quite a few different seat back pockets for people stowing phones and items like that. And turning over to the door trim, we do have a really nice one. You probably are noticing that we have rear window sunshades. That's on the EXL trim levels and above. And as far as the materials, they use pretty nice ones with leather on the armrest portion. But more important than that, for a family vehicle, you're seeing all the storage. You have tons of door storage, and you're seeing that I can fit my Stanley water bottle in the door. Super cool, and your family's definitely going to be appreciating that on long road trips. They can put their little Slurpee or Stanley or whatever they got. They can put it in the door trim and keep a lot of messes away from the seats, and they can even put it here in the center area as well. And let's check out the third row. Honda's made it one of the easiest in the class to get into the third row. You just press this button right here. That's going to electronically slide the seat out of the way. And then getting back into the third row itself, of course, we do have 3 seats back here, so that adds to your usability in this vehicle. And as far as the space is concerned, we're looking at 32.5 inches of rear leg room, about 38 inches of headroom, which places this as really the largest offering in the entire segment besides for the Toyota Grand Highlander. It's down about an inch when it comes to leg room over that model, but I'm 5'9", as I mentioned earlier, and I still do have a little bit of knee room left. 2 inches to be exact, with the seat slid all the way back. Very impressive. My feet can also slide up underneath the seat. The thigh support is lacking just a little bit, but overall I'm very, very comfortable back here. And as far as on our third row Car Confections rating scale, I'd say this is fit for adults. You could actually fit quite a few adults back here, and I don't think they're going to be complaining much. Now, as far as features are concerned, we have 2 more cup holders, so Honda knows that Stanleys matter to a lot of you guys. And then as far as other features, we do have vents integrated here in this pillar, and we also have some charging USB ports. Now, walking up to your tailgate, of course, here on the Elite model, you do have a hands-free power one. And then as far as this space is concerned, you've been seeing the trend that this Pilot is very large for the segment. That's going to continue behind the third row seats. About 18 cubic feet behind the third row seats. If we fold the seats down, we're going to be looking at about 48 cubic feet of cargo capacity. And if we fold the second row seats down, you're looking at a maximum of 87 cubic feet. Now, I do want to talk about this compared to the competition. It's going to be larger than the vast majority of the competition. Once again, it is bested by the Toyota Grand Highlander if you need that maximum amount of space, but this is really, really big for the segment. Now, let's go ahead and talk about some of the features. Underneath of here, we have a really large storage area. So if you're not using it for the middle seat, this is a large amount of space that you can store other things, or you can just store the seat, of course. And here at Car Confections, we do like to provide those measures for you. We've got a lot of people asking what the measure is behind the second row seats to the rear of the cargo area. We're sitting at 48 inches of length. As far as the cargo width in this model, we are sitting at 45 inches wide. And let me go ahead and fold those second row seats down. And with those seats folded down, we are looking at an overall cargo length of 85 inches of length. So very, very practical cargo area in this Pilot. I think you're going to certainly appreciate it. All the seats do fold completely flat. And you also have this button right here, which I want to point out. If you push that button, when you walk away from the tailgate, it's going to automatically sense that and go ahead and close it down, which is a really nice feature that we've seen drop down from the Acura MDX onto this Pilot. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 24 Honda Pilot, and we're excited to show you a lot of different things in this test drive, as you can see right there, including getting the sound level reading. But first, we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
All right, 60 miles an hour.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. Now, you heard us mention it at the spec dump, and honestly, I think this is one of the things that is standing out more and more about this Honda Pilot compared to the competition. That's having that traditional V6 powertrain. I know a lot of you guys really like that and look for that, and it is your only option. Yep. For this Pilot, the 3.5 liter V6. Just to remind you guys, 285 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. It's a little bit more power than what it was offering in the previous generation if you own one of those. And overall, you know, that's a very competitive number.
Yeah, and one of the things that I just really like about this motor is the sound. You can tell from that acceleration there, it has a nice refined V6 growl, and honestly I think it's one of the best sounding V6s in this segment. I like the sound of this better than the 3.8 that's in the Telluride and Palisade. It just has a very kind of rugged almost sound to it.
Right, and it's very refined in its power delivery. Even when you go full throttle like I just did, you're not going to have a lot of like harshness, vibrations, things coming into the cabin. It really feels like it's delivering the power in a smooth and refined way, which honestly is one of the things that Mason and I have appreciated the most through this week, is just how smooth and refined. It's very MDX-esque.
That's hard to say.
Yes, that's a very hard thing to say, but
yeah.
It kind of does feel like a very luxurious experience when you're driving. Now, as far as the other element of the powertrain, we've got a 10-speed automatic transmission. This is a good transmission. They've done a great job with this. Overall, it's nice and responsive. It has a lot of gears, but it can also downshift a lot of gears at once, which is a good feature of it. And I do like to talk about the previous generation because I feel like Honda has a lot of repeat customers compared to what you had in the previous generation. The 9-speed automatic, this is a big improvement. It's a lot more sure of itself and really a lot more refined in its overall shift quality.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, as far as how the power is routed to the ground, as far as the drivetrains are concerned, we have front-wheel drive as the standard option for most trim levels. If you choose a Trail Sport or the Elite, you will have standard all-wheel drive as well. All right, now we're on just the highway stretch of our drive. I do want to talk about the ride quality. So for the past 7 days, we've been driving this vehicle to give you those extensive impressions, and ride quality is exactly how I remember it being back in Arizona. So comfortable when you go over a bridge, just like what we just did. I mean, it takes out all the harshness and really does a fantastic job of soaking it up. Like Drew said earlier, this does feel very accurate MDX, and it does as well in the ride quality, which is certainly a good thing. This is a fantastic riding vehicle. I can just imagine going on multi-hour road trips in this Pilot and being extremely comfortable. I've also found the seats to be very comfortable as well. They're a little stiff if you get in on a cold morning, but after they warm up, they do certainly have a lot of comfort to them as well.
Right, and it's just the type of vehicle that even as we've driven it all over with family trips and whatnot, you just stay in comfort all the time.
All right, and we are finally back home in Kentucky to get our official sound level reading in the Elite Pilot. Fan speed is on 1, and we are going 55 miles an hour on our designated strip of road. Official Car Confections sound level reading, 55.4 decibels. My intuition is telling me that is a very good sound level reading for the segment, but let's go ahead and compare it on carconfections.com/sound level readings, because we do have every one of this vehicle's competitive products posted on our website with the sound level reading. So if you want to know the quietest things in the segment, the loudest things in the segment, you can find that on our website. And that is going to place it pretty good for the segment. It's going to be around number 8, but we've tested out a lot of things in this 3-row SUV segment. The closest thing to it is the Nissan Pathfinder Platinum, which we also tested on this exact same strip of road. So very good sound level reading overall. Some of the Hondas are a little bit louder than some of the competition, so I'm not surprised that this is not number 1 in the segment, but overall I think it seems relatively quiet enough for most families.
Absolutely. In the mid-50s, you're not going to be disturbed by like wind noise, road noise. It's be disturbed, you probably need to be in the upper 50s to the kind of the 60s. That's where like a Honda Civic would set, and that obviously is going to be a lot louder than this Pilot.
All right, and let's also do our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball. Our favorite element and our least favorite element. Drew, what's the Slam Dunk?
So the Slam Dunk, after 7 days, is just the overall practical nature of this product. This is a family 3-row that's going to take whatever you have to throw at it.
Yeah.
You have a big family with a lot of stuff, it's going to fit in here, no problem whatsoever. You know, this is something that's going to be great for driving in all weather conditions. You have the torque vectoring all-wheel drive system. It just really is prepared for whatever you and your family have to throw at it, and I think that really is what stands out.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I really learned after 7 days was even small stuff like the cup holders. There are cup holders everywhere. They're big. They fit the biggest Slurpees that you want to throw in there. It really is just super practical. Now, as far as our Airball is concerned, that's just going to be the overall luxury for this elite trim level. Now, one of the things Drew and I really have noticed over the last 7 days, we've had a lot of this vehicle's competition for a full week as well, and you're not going to have as many luxury goodies and creature comforts in this elite version as you would in maybe a Palisade or some of the other rivals. So that's just something that we would really like to see Honda improve upon, is maybe give some more luxury elements like what we're seeing in a lot of the competition to make the elite feel more special. It feels more like a middle trim level as compared to a top end model.
Right. We just kind of would like to see Honda go above and beyond.
Now, I don't want to leave you waiting any longer when it comes to the fuel economy. So I'll just go ahead and read off the EPA numbers first. So we're sitting at 21 miles a gallon combined with all-wheel drive. If you choose front-wheel drive, you go up to 22 mpg. The Trail Sport is rated at 20 from the EPA. Now, as far as our real-world fuel economy, like we mentioned, we took this on many road trips. We will be inserting an official picture after our full week concludes, and we do all of the road tripping that we're going to be doing in this Pilot to give you those official Car Confections real-world estimates. As far as our city driving, we have done some city driving so far, and we're sitting at around 15 miles per gallon combined in mostly city driving. So that's something to keep in mind. You probably will be lacking a little bit when it comes to the competition in terms of your city. However, I believe we will catch up with that when we do a lot of our highway driving.
This vehicle does not have a hybrid version or anything like the Grand Highlander, so it's something to keep in mind as well.
And lastly, as far as your warranty is concerned, Honda's typical warranty applies here. 3-year, 36,000 miles for your basic, 5-year, 60,000 miles for your powertrain. Additionally, you do also get 2 years of complimentary maintenance.
And the last thing on the subject of fuel economy, we have an auto start-stop system which operates, I will say, very, very well. It is super smooth. It's the type of system that is easy to ignore, but if you still don't like it or don't want it to operate, you have a button right here, an easy reach that you can turn it off.
Now, prices for the Pilot for 2024 are going to rise around $500. That means as a starting point, you're looking at $37,090 for an LX model. Of course, as you go up the trim structure, it's going to get more expensive. The Elite starts at $52,480. And then as far as this particular model that we're looking at today, we do have pretty much all of the options, including the optional Sonic Gray Pearl paint color for $455, plus destination, we're sitting at $54,310 as tested today. Now, if you're looking to buy a Honda Pilot or any new vehicle, we want to encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, on our website, we have a tool that will connect you with local dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. Additionally, it's going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation to ensure you get that best deal. Now, if you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. And guys, that's where we're going to leave off on this in-depth review of the 2024 Honda Pilot Elite. Hopefully you enjoyed our 7-day review of this model and found it helpful in your purchasing decisions. If you did, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below, because we do a lot of 7-day tests on this channel, as well as new car reviews that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. We are a very family-focused crossover channel, so if you're looking for a family SUV, you're not going to be disappointed by subscribing. Now, if you're already a fan and subscriber, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. It means a lot to us. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.